Stop messing around, stop fooling around, stop delaying, stop procrastinating. Get up, get out, get it done. Everything is possible, nothing is a problem, and anything can be overcome. I just get my ass up out of bed, I get my shit together, and I get out and I start the fight. And that will transform you from a mere mortal into a superhuman being. I've never, ever, ever met anybody who told me that they got rich watching their IRA or their 401k.
Welcome to the Daily Cash Flow. My name is George Robson.
I'm Peter Siegel.
Peter, I was always told to put my money in the bank growing up.
You and everybody else.
Me too. Yeah, was that good advice?
Well, it was advice. I don't know if it was good. I mean, to me, George, it strikes me more as marketing and messaging.
Okay.
To me as a consumer, to you as a consumer, it doesn't really strike me as advice. Here's why. I mean, we're talking about post-war, industrial age, economic life cycle. Up until now, the banking industrial complex has really been putting this message out there: save your money, save your money. Work your job, pay the highest possible tax rate on the money that you've earned from your job, and then whatever's left over, put it in a savings account here at this bank. Well, here's why they do that. Savings accounts pay you what, 0.1%? Does that sound like a great investment? It doesn't to me. We believe, perhaps falsely, that there's some sort of moral greatness to putting your money into a savings account at a bank, because that's what we've been taught, and that's what the messaging's been for so long. Oh, I'm saving my money, I'm saving my money. And there's this aura of, I'm doing the right thing, I'm saving my money. Well, are you doing the right thing? I mean, we have, as individuals, each of us has a finite amount of money in which to work with our entire lives. For some of us, it's a lot of money that we have to work with, and for most of us, it's really not that much. And we have to make the right decisions in our time to grow and succeed and have that money turn into something for ourselves and for our families. Putting it into the bank is such an odd concept. I mean, what happens when you put money into a bank? They don't save your money like they're telling us to save money. They turn around and they invest it. They put it out on the street. They invest in making real estate loans to the community of real estate owners out there. They invest it in making asset-backed loans to business owners and retailers that carry large amounts of inventory on their balance sheets, which that inventory is financeable. They invest it in making home mortgages and charge you 3.5%, 4% for your home mortgage. So they're paying you 0.1% on your deposits and turning around and taking your money and then lending it back to you to buy your house at a 4% mortgage. I mean, are you kidding me? It's funny that the banks call themselves the lenders in this case, because I sort of feel like when I put my money in a savings account, I'm lending my money to the bank. And they're turning around and investing it. And George, we've talked here before about how you want to use whatever money you have, make the best possible investments for you, and perhaps those moments when you take on debt in life, you really only want to be taking on debt to buy property, plant, or equipment that can be invested to earn you positive cash flow. So why do the banks get to be the ones that do that, but we as individuals have to just put our hard-earned and highly taxed dollars into a savings account to enable them to do that? I mean, it makes no sense to me. Guys, you got to get your money out of the banks. Sure, it's a pandemic now, and we've seen now more than ever, we have to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months, whatever it is, of monthly expenses in a bank account. Okay, but beyond that, get your money out of the banks because it's not doing you any good. Where are you going to put it? Well, that's a whole nother bit of discussion that we can have, and I think we're going to have it. But I got to tell you, when you ask me if it seems like good advice to put your money in a bank, I have to say, well, you know, banks are nothing more than consumer-driven product offerers, just like the Gap and Apple and Walmart. I mean, when you need goods and services and t-shirts and jeans and iPhones, you go to those places, you shop around, you make an informed decision as a consumer, you get the best price, the best deal you can get, and you take your product home and you get on with your day. I mean, we should be doing that with banking products, because really, the difference between all of these banks is that they have the same products and they just package them and market them to us in different ways. So we should be shopping around for whatever banking products and services we need. But banks just offer products, and there's a huge opportunity cost for us as consumers to putting our money into the banks. The opportunity cost is that money can better serve us in high-yielding, income-producing investments. So think twice before you have a lion's share of your cash sitting in a checking or savings account, and how good is it really making you feel? Is it making you feel good that it's there and accessible? Okay. Or is it making you feel shitty that it's there and accessible and it's earning you 0.1%? That's how it makes me feel. So I get my money out of the banks and deployed into investments. And I want everybody out there to consider doing the same thing. And for you, George, you're asking me if it's good advice or not. It sounds more like marketing and messaging to me from the banking industrial complex, for sure.
All right. We've spoken about the importance of relationships and kind of cutting through the white noise quite a bit here on the podcast.
Relationships are everything, in business, not in business.
Yeah, I feel like everything comes down to either relationship or execution or a combination of both.
Yeah, sure.
Are there a few examples that you could give of ways that you've stood out and kind of built relationships with either investors or clients or just people in general?
Thank you. I appreciate that question. I mean, that's what I've tried to do my whole life once I learned that that was actually something that I should focus on. But even as a kid, I picked up on the value of relationships and doing unique things within those relationships to build them and create those bonds. I remember working at my dad's store as a kid and finally graduating from the gift wrapping department in the back to the service desk out front on the main floor. It was a very exciting time for me, but I was very young. And during school breaks, I would work the service desk, and there was one Christmas break that I remember where a young woman came in the store. She needed some sales help. All the salespeople were busy. I was at the service desk. I had nothing going on, so I approached her, said, "May I help you? Is there something you're looking for?" And she said, "Well, my dad loves Swiss Army knives. It's Christmas coming up. I'd love to get him something that's really cool and unique. Can you get it for me today and have it engraved and delivered tomorrow?" And I'm going, oh my God. Granted, this is 40 years ago. There's no delivery. We don't deliver, and how am I going to get it engraved? It's such a backlog with the guy who engraves the stuff. And all I could think of was to say to her, yes, absolutely, we'll make this work. I showed her some really cool Swiss Army knives that were in sterling silver, that had some different appointments to them. And she chose one, and it wasn't a very expensive sale that I made to her, but it was so important, and here's why. It was maybe a $40 gift that she got for her dad. I got it engraved in like 4 seconds. I had it gift wrapped, and I had it delivered to her house that night before the store closed. So, I put such a rush on this. I moved mountains, and it was a silly thing to try and move mountains for, seemingly, because you had all these other important sales going on. The holiday time, people are buying expensive gifts for their loved ones and family and whatever's happening. A $40 sale, who would prioritize a $40 sale? Well, I knew and I learned at a very young age that prioritizing the little things and executing on them as if they're big things was a huge, huge thing. And I'll never forget what happened. So I had the knife delivered. I had it all boxed up and delivered. I was the one that delivered it. The next week, I come into the store. The whole sales team and staff is out there, and everyone's patting me on the back and applauding me. And I'm looking around like, what's going on? What happened is that the young woman who bought the watch wrote this huge, beautiful handwritten card to the store. She sent it to the store, referenced me by name, and said, "I can't believe it. I was so stressed out. I was late for buying this gift. And Peter found me the right thing, but more than that, he got it engraved when there was a 3-week wait, and he had it delivered when I couldn't come back to pick it up so that I could give it to my dad." It was this huge thank you note. So it was meaningful for a few reasons. One, I took the time to move those mountains and deliver her what she needed and what she wanted when she had no expectation of that happening. I think I blew her away. And number two, she blew me away. She writes back this handwritten note, goes into elaborate detail about expressing her gratitude. She mentions me by name. She sends it to the store. Everyone else saw it. It achieved so much. First of all, I had a smile from ear to ear for weeks. I felt like I really did the right thing. I had a win. It was such a small thing. But I knew the magnitude of it. I mean, for someone to take the time to write this out by hand and to say thank you was really tremendous. But also I saw that the other people in the store who read the card and read the thank you note and saw all of that gratitude in there, I mean, they were really pumped by it. And they were like, wow, this is clearly the right way to do it. Let's do that. And it really set the stage for how I tried to approach so many things in life, with my personal relationships, with business relationships. So we're in this pandemic now. In early April, I thought, what am I going to do? I mean, I have to take action on so many things with my team, with my investments, with investors, with people that I communicate with, my contractors and vendors and suppliers. I mean, I need to be in touch. What's going to be the messaging? What's going to be my effort? And I thought, what can I do? I have X amount of investors. What can I do for them that's going to be valuable? How can I add value and provide value to them during a pandemic? They're sitting at home just like I'm sitting at home. What can I do? And I remembered that as a kid in summer camp, I loved getting care packages from my mom and dad. They'd send me comic books and, candy and t-shirts and stuff like that in a care package. You open it up in camp, everyone gathers around, they look, it's like, boom, you get a bunch of stuff. It wasn't expensive, it wasn't elaborate, just candy and gum and t-shirts and comic books, and you're off to the races with happiness, right? So I remembered that. And so what I did was I created a care package, a COVID-19 care package, and sent it out to each and every investor with a handwritten note. Dear Jane, dear John, I hope you're doing well. I know it's a very difficult time. I know you're at home. I was thinking about you. I'm so grateful for our relationship, our business relationship. I'm so grateful that you've invested with me. I hope that you've enjoyed the fruits of your investment with me. And here are some things to help you get through this crazy, difficult time. And in the care package box were some organic snacks and a little handmade notebook and some other unique gift items that weren't very expensive, but they were very curated and packaged together the right
Carefully
way.
chosen, yeah.
Had a great look and great feel to it. And I wrote this handwritten card to them, each and every one of them. The response that I got back was just tremendous for me. First of all, I felt so great. Everyone called me or wrote me and said, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so psyched that you were thinking about me. It's so nice that you did this. So that's always nice to hear. But aside from that, what we're doing here is building the bond, building the relationship, affirming the relationship. I mean, what investor invests money with someone and then gets care packages and a handwritten note? The answer is not many investors get those things. So I can promise you guys that down the road, when the success of the investment becomes sort of regular in their minds and they just sort of expect their checks to come on a regular basis, which they do. The thing that they're going to remember about Peter Siegel is that Peter Siegel's an incredible guy because he put together these care packages and he sent me one and he wrote me a handwritten card. They're not going to forget that. What are the opportunities that you have to send an awesome bouquet of flowers with a handwritten note? Birthdays, other holidays, life events, happy moments in lives. I mean, whether it's a business relationship or a personal relationship, these things are happening, right? Marriages, weddings, kids, grandkids. Take the time out, spend the $100, the $50, the $20, whatever it is, and if you send an awesome little thing of flowers with a handwritten note, congratulations on your graduation, congratulations on your kids' graduation. I'm so psyched that you guys are finally sold your home and you're moving to your dream vacation spot to live out the rest of your life. Whatever it is, when you show that thought and these people in your life receive this gift and this card, I mean, it's an inexpensive gift and card. That's not the point. You stand out because they're not getting those things every day from hundreds of people. They're getting them once and they're going to get them from you. They're going to remember you. At times of illness, incapacity, sorrow, these are great moments and opportunities for us in relationships to step up and say, hey, can I drive you to the hospital? Can I pick you up from the hospital? Can I do some food shopping for you while you're at home, not well or grieving or whatever the case may be? I mean, this is life happening, so what are we gonna do in these moments in life? Other things, Georgia, that I can think of are when a dear friend of yours has a kid that's new to your hometown or your city, maybe for college or school or something like that, a summer program. Reach out to your friend and say, hey, I'm here, your kid's just moving here. use me as your local resource. Use me as your get out of jail free card. I'm here. Your kid needs anything, wants anything, has trouble with anything, I'm the person they should be calling. You're off in California, but I'm here in New York, so let me be the local resource for your son or daughter who's here in New York. And those few times that I was able to do that for my friends who had their family members or kids in New York, it was really a powerful relationship builder. And I know that they really appreciated it. And I felt great being able to have that bond with them. Just to be there and to show up. I mean, you're standing out, you're being different. And these are important things to do. And we have to seek out these opportunities. And they're there in front of us every day. And it's our job to see them and to do something about it. Otherwise, we're just going to have normal, blending in, white, noisy relationships, days, months, years. It's all going to blend together. So when you want to stand out, seek these unique moments to be different and stand out.
What I hear you saying as you describe some of these things is that they're simple to do seemingly, but there's still an extra effort outside of your normal life.
George, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How many handwritten notes have you received in the past year?
Exactly, maybe two. Three.
Maybe two?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys out there in viewer world, how many handwritten notes have you received from people in the past year? Other than your birthday, a birthday card, right? Other than that.
Right. Yeah, and so
Right.
when you think about that, even if it's not an economic cost, the time cost is tremendously valuable, and
It's huge.
and people acknowledge that, and people can feel that.
Look, everybody in business, now let's talk about business.
Yeah.
Everybody in business gets an email with the email containing content that's trying to sell you, right? Everybody in business gets a phone call or some sort of other pitch, the sales pitch day in and day out. But in business, do you ever get handwritten cards saying, look, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to have a meeting with you. I know you're busy. Here's my cell phone number. Here's a picture of me. Like, I don't know, what you got to gear your content in the card towards the circumstance and the person you're sending the card to. But I promise you that in business, people don't get handwritten cards. And if they were to, they would remember it for a long, long time, and they would remember you. And I promise you this as well, your phone call is going to get taken the next time you call. In business, we're trying to get in the door more. We're trying to get in front of people more. We're trying to sell more, have the opportunity to sell more. How are we going to do it? Little ways, big ways and little ways. These are the little ways. And this is how you're going to carve a niche for yourself, stand out and be different. So you have to be different. And I love writing handwritten cards to people. I love getting them myself. I mean, I know how I feel when I get a handwritten card from someone. I mean, so why wouldn't I immediately recognize how I feel and then turn around and do something similar for someone else? I mean, I would, and I have, and I want you guys to do that too.
Marco Pierre White has that phrase that excellence is doing a lot of little things well, and I think what you're describing is just that.
Well, I think I agree with that, and so I encourage everybody to look for the little things in life that you can do to be different. These are just some. Use these, find or create your own, but you have to stand out, because if you don't stand out, you're blending in, and if you're blending in, you're just going to have a tougher time succeeding. You're going to have a tougher time being happy. You're going to have a tougher time accomplishing what you want to accomplish. Stand out.
So Peter, this is a listener question.
Great, I love it.
From one of our listeners off
From
of social
TikTok?
media. This one's not from TikTok, but
Snapchat?
we've gotten this question from TikTok and Snapchat, so all over the place. But this one's from Instagram. So
all right, well, give me the TikTok questions, because I want to know what the TikTok community is thinking.
Absolutely, will do. I'll put that on my radar. This one is, we're told to diversify, so how much of my portfolio should be in real estate?
Good question. I mean, George, I'm a real estate guy, so I have the significant majority of my investable capabilities in real estate. And I'm happy about that. I mean, we've talked about the time that we're in right now. It's a pandemic, and I get cash flow from my performing real estate investments right now. And they're apartment buildings, they're not office and retail buildings. Bank of America made a statement last year in 2019 that they were altering their asset allocation model, the standard model, the 60-40 model, 60% equities, 40% bonds. And so you've got Bank of America and the other banks and advisories saying, go heavier on income, heavier on income. Well, if you're going to go heavier on income, what's going to be your solution for that? What are your income producing assets? T-bills? Bonds? Like, where are you getting the income from? So if we're going to be seeking income, why not seek income producing real estate? And if you look at history, income producing real estate often has outperformed many other asset classes. So, George, it is a good question to ask how much of my net worth should be in real estate. I mean, for everybody, it's going to be different. You want some diversification, you want the income, you want the exposure to income producing real estate. Me personally, I don't have the stomach for stocks. I don't have the stomach to wake up one day and listen to the news and hear that some PR company that the company hired is saying one thing, and 2 weeks later they hired another PR company that's saying another, and 2 weeks after that they're restating their earnings from last quarter, because they all do that, and it's just nauseating. I mean, that's not any kind of investment that I can manage and feel good about. And I know that stocks are an important part of people's portfolios. I'm not saying don't be in stocks. I'm saying I'm not in stocks, and here's why. The answer is going to be different for everybody, and I encourage everybody to seek having some exposure to income producing real estate. If you're just in T-bills and nothing else, I mean, come on, you can do better. If you're just in stocks and nothing else, I mean, God bless you. You have an iron stomach, and I hope you're doing well with it. If you want to explore some other alternatives, look into income producing real estate. If you're just in the bond markets and you have nothing else or very little of something else, look into income producing real estate. George, I know people that have big art collections and beautiful, expensive primary residences and really nothing else. I mean, it seems crazy to me. What cash flow are they getting from their art collection and from their primary residence? I mean, none. And these are high net worth, successful, informed, educated people. I mean, so it's mind-boggling to me to see the various different investment strategies that a lot of people have. But the answer to your question, George, is that the amount of exposure to real estate that you're going to want is going to be different from person to person, depending on what your current income is, what your business and assets look like, what your other investments look like. I mean, you want to have the exposure, you want to have the diversity, but you want to be in the real estate game. You want to be in income producing real estate.
Ready for some Zest quests, Peter?
George, I'm always ready for your Zest quest. I mean, it's the thing I look forward to all week long.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
First one is, travel is a thing that not many people are doing right now. It's pretty much impossible. Yeah. You traveled quite a bit. What's a meaningful travel memory in your mind? What's a meaningful memory that you've had when you're abroad?
George, so many. After I graduated from college, I spent time by myself, no friends, no travel partners, touring around parts of Europe and other countries. Incredibly memorable time for me. I just learned so much. I got exposure to new cultures and new places, and it was really the start of my passion for that kind of thing. Right now, with everything that's going on, traveling's a want, it's not a need. Let's just say that. Sure, it hurts not to be able to do it. Sure, it's a bummer not to be able to do it. I mean, my own nephew and his new wife, I mean, they weren't able to go on their honeymoon, and they're bummed, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and it's a bummer for so many people. But you'll travel again one day soon. We all will, and make it a happy, memorable moment. I mean, I've loved. I'm glad you asked me this question, George. I mean, there's so many things I could talk about.
I remember one of the first conversations you and I had was about the Berlin Wall and about your trip there.
I saw the Pink Floyd The Wall concert in Berlin when the Berlin Wall was coming down. It was July 21st, 1990. I was at Checkpoint Charlie, and I was at the Berlin Wall when the wall was being taken down, and I was given a hammer and chisel by a complete stranger. Walked right up to me, said, "Here you go," gave me a hammer and chisel, and I said, "Whoa." And I just, I started chiseling away at the wall. It was metaphorical. It was, when you're young, you have these idealistic mindsets. It was great to be a part of that, and I've never forgotten that as well. I mean, it was very meaningful. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because I like to think about not only that wall that I helped take down, but other walls that I've maybe taken down in my life, and like to ask people what are the walls that they've taken down in theirs. I mean, now we're getting a little hokey, but I mean, that's what I remember about
But I mean, that's something, especially right now with COVID and with Black Lives Matter and like all the things that are going on right now, we're part of history every day.
Yeah,
and so it's something to keep in mind that, like, looking back, our decisions now are going to be historical at some point.
They are. They are.
So.
And to your point about traveling, I mean, to those people out there that have wanted to travel, but just really couldn't recently. You know, hang in there, be tough. It's a want, not a need. Take care of your needs first. Take care of the needs of yourself and your family first, and you'll travel soon enough, and you'll make it great when you do.
Great. So last question is, what was the last thing that blew your mind?
Last thing that blew my mind. Is this a G-rated show we're doing, or what are my options to answer you?
That's up to you, Peter. You create the parameters here.
Look, I mean, I get blown away by so many things. I mean, the arts, food, things that people can do and accomplish. This past weekend, I was turned on to a female vocalist and guitar player named Madison Cunningham. She's got this song called Pin It Down. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd heard in so long. I mean, it's got a great groove to it. She plays great. The tone of her guitar is great. The tone of her voice is sick. And the song is so cool. And I played it probably 20 or 30 times over and over and over again. It's the first time I'd done that in a while, so I think that qualifies probably as having blown my mind.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the arts, so I'm constantly amazed by art and artists and the talent that these people have. I love it. So that blows me away all the time.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. I'll have to add that to my playlist for the weekend. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I appreciate
Thanks, George.
you taking the time.
Thanks, everybody.